This is J2O back with Season 9, Match 3, the finale. There's my opponent's stats there. To sum that up, Cliff Notes wise, he had a mod disadvantage, but he did have a Zeta advantage, a significant Zeta advantage. So you'll see here I jump in with Revan on Revan, some Revan on Revan action. He did have a proper Jolie, 47% armor, decent speed. So I knew it was going to be tough. I figured I could beat him down because my Yoda had a little bit more offense than his did. And he actually didn't have mods on his Revan. I'm assuming he transitioned them to his Darth Revan or Basti prior to this Grand Arena. And so I think that probably did hinder him, but ultimately I had to get through Jolie regardless. So you'll see here, I'm just kind of putting work in, trying to kind of chain some stuff together. Here I try to call Revan to get a little bit of protection back, see if I could keep him alive without popping the Savior. End up not getting that. He does pop it, so now I'm on my Jolie only lives. Just working him. There's no crit immunity, but obviously he's got a very high tenacity Jolie, among the 70% that he gets innately from the talents. But eventually here I do get the burst through. He's a little slower of a Jolie, and without the counter from Kenobi or Bastila, it makes it almost inevitable. If he would have been a little faster, I think he might have been able to sustain himself a little better, but there you go, you got him knocked out. And now the rest is just cleanup. Yeah, my opponent did have about 100 less 10 speed plus mods than I did, but he had 11 more Zetas than I did. Everything else was fairly comparable. I think I had a couple more Gear 12s than he did, which just meant, in this case I think he was just very middle heavy, where I was more top heavy. So I do take this team in to take his Kylo. I actually was saving JTR for the boss team. I thought the boss team was going to be more dangerous. And that is one hell of a crit. I actually just discovered last match 2, how good my Night Sister Spirit was. She can really, really hit. Obviously that was with the evade up, so it gave her extra damage, 50% more offense. But my goodness, 43k on a relatively hefty target. He's not exactly the squishiest target in the world. Yeah. So I do like this team in 3s, and again I did develop Night Sister Spirit for just 3s. Initially, it was just so I could have 3 and 3, and I really didn't like Talia or the other random Night Sister. To me, they just don't have enough in their kits going for them. I think Night Sister Spirit was the PvP kit for me, and I do like Night Sister Spirit as well. She's kind of my counter to Nest. I have her around for Nest. Yeah, so you see I'm taking out 51 banners. Not amazing, but it will take it. A one shot on that team was good. This was I wasn't really sure what to use, but I used this team last match too, and I really kind of liked the synergy. Because every time Biggs calls a assist, Ahsoka's coming in and putting protection up on somebody. So they have healing and protection, faux protection regen. And it was also an Empire team, so I thought they synergized well, especially Biggs. When he gets crit by Empire, he gets 100% turn meter. And I thought that I'd have enough DPS to easily get through these guys, and I thought that was going to be the problem, not their damage, but my need for DPS here. And I didn't want to use like a or a B team. I wanted to go to a C team. And so I do. One thing I also believe occurs, I haven't exactly confirmed this, but I think protection up will count as full protection. So there, obviously nobody had full protection even with protection up, but I have noticed that sometimes characters will get I'll get the protection point bonus when I didn't have full protection, but I did have some kind of protection up. Um, and so I'm not 100% on that mechanic. That's something I'm gonna have to research a little more. But uh, here, this is his most dangerous team on the board for defense, and I thought for sure I could take it with my CLS after I saw his second back line. I was kind of hanging on CLS for Revan, Darth Revan. He does have Darth Revan in his pocket, and he's not on the board at least visibly right now. But I was like, well, I need to get to the back anyway, so CLS is it. I thought they'd have no problem, and it starts well. Um, you'll see that, obviously, but Chewie takes a huge hit there, and he's hanging on by a thread, and really get close to Nihilus here, and then he pops. And that was it. That was going to be the end of the fight. And then two 44k hits from Traya. That was pretty big. I think in hindsight, I think I should have gone for Traya. I could have, this team, my CLS team has a lot of damage and a lot of burst. I mean, above and beyond, this typical. So I think I should have gone for Traya and just worked her down, and then switched over and controlled Nihilus. It's okay here. I'd go ahead and just go after the boss. I put my JTR to work because I knew that was going to be the matchup I needed for that. So I wanted to make sure I didn't have her, sitting on the bench when I went into the next fight. So typical boss, she outruns him and gets ability block up. I like the Imbo. I don't know how I feel about him in PvP right now. When you give up protection, it's really hard for me to say I love it, but I love the Dispel on basic. Like, if that's not a PvP basic, I don't know what is. But I think he needs a Zeta. I think he needs crit immunity for him to be really viable, and that really starts to weigh down the Bounty Hunters team as far as Zetas go. Like, the beauty of Bosk is that one Zeta makes the team like a completely different team, and they have a lot more survivability. But that's definitely something. Imbo is one of those guys on my board that I need to farm at some point. If they stop releasing Revans of all the different types, that'll be on my board to farm. So I see here JTR just cleaning up Dengar. I always save Dengar last. He's probably the least of the threat. He's really good, calls assist, and can put out a little bit of damage. And really, actually, he's a great pick for the leadership of Boss. But he's good survival, so it's just a really good pick for a Boss. But as soon as the rest of the team falls apart, he can't really do anything. He's not going to threaten you. So I jump back into Traya here, and I'm going to just match Traya. Again, I was thinking, well, I've got to make it by her. I need something that's going to guarantee that I just clean it up. So I figured Nihilus would handle Scion, and then I would control Traya with. So he had a really slow Traya actually. It was a tenacity based Traya, and obviously some offense there. So I probably should have used Isolate there on either Scion. I think Scion. Keep him from having taunt up, but it's not really a problem. But it would have been good to get that protection up and reduce cooldowns quicker. I still make a lot of mistakes with this team. This team is something I'm still very raw on. I think I have maybe between Grand Arena and Territory War, I think maybe 10 to 15 matches total with them. And that's, for me, that's tough because I need the reps to really get a good feel for the right decisions to make. But against a 2v3, it's not really a competition. It should be pretty easy without a Nihilus. So I finished this up. It's a shame. I mean, it was his best team visible on the board. I really could have used Traya somewhere else. And I'm not sure if my Traya team would have beat it outright. I think his Nihilus head was faster and would have probably outran me. The only thing I could have possibly done is maybe ran Thrawn. I had Thrawn on the bench too. I had some options there. I think I just trusted my CLS and it just didn't go my way. The rest of the back line was fairly porous. We'll show here where my position is and then also how he did on offense. He struggled a little bit actually. I had a really undergeared Darth Revan there that he struggled on, and he struggled on Bosk. So looks like I'm gonna take another one. 26 and 1 that is now.